buhay! Do you already understand what gives a piece of art a great significance and timelines in our modern world? Now is the moment to refresh your memory or gain knowledge about art history. Come and join our search for information in our art history. Art historians are concerned with gathering information about works of art and the artists who created them. Recognizing the need for a plan of action, Helen decides to use the same plans of description, analysis, interpretation, and judgment used by many work critics. In Helen plans, description involves discovering when, where, and by whom the art was done. In this instance, her knowledge of art history enables to identify the artist's name, age, and when it's created. Other times, an artwork historian may not recognize the artist so easily. Then he would need to examine the work carefully to see whether it contained a signature. If a signature is found, it might be the name of an artist with whom he is unfamiliar. In this time, conducting research on the artist is needed. For example, using strong, pure holds, historians refers to this as the artist's individual style or personal way of using the art elements and principles to reproduce what they see and what to express their ideas and their feelings. They also learn that this style often develops gradually as the artist's special way of seeing matures and as his or her artistic skills are perfect. Interpretation involves discovering how art is influenced by the world around him or her. It will result to the realization that pictures of the same subject created at different times or in different places or location may have little in common. Judgment involves deciding about a work's importance in the history of art. Some artworks are considered more important because they are first impression of a new style or techniques in a modern world. As such, they inspire artists to follow them. Other artworks are valued because they are excellent examples of a great artist's fully developed style.
Welcome to Art History Operation. Did you know that, like math, art has its own operation? Exactly, you're right. This operation is used to analyze and understand the effect of a certain work of art. And today, I am here at one of the famous museums in Cebu City, which is the Fort San Pedro, and I'm going to show you their famous art gallery. Let's go! So, as you can see all of these paintings, it was created and made by only one famous Cebuano artist, which is Emmanuel F. Pañares. So travels in the United States has greatly influenced his artworks. And after seeing the masterpiece of New York and Washington, D.C. And this is what makes his artworks unique. His paintings are such accurate and correct. So he began his arts during the late 60s and started with exhibitions in Manila and Cebu. His preferred subjects are the indigenous tribes and historical events. From the Global Foundation for International Education in Babulong, Cebu. So he received the Alibata Award for his outstanding contribution and for the preservation of the Philippine arts and culture. So his artworks showcasing the Philippine indigenous tribes and the collection.
Now let us go through the cultural influences on art. The real-world settings of time and place have a power influence on artists. They affect the ideas and feelings artists hold. They influence the manner in which artists express those ideas and feelings. Can even influence the tools and materials artists use to transform their ideas into visual forms. And this painting or work of art will serve as an example. This painting is painted by Emmanuel F. Pañares, and this painting depicts Sanduguan, which is a significant part of our history as Filipinos and as Cebuanos. As we can see in this painting, Magellan and Waha Humabon, our very own Waha Humabon, have formed a friendship and an agreement through Sanduguan, or what we call the Blood Compact. Imamal's passion for ethnology and history has led him to paint works that interprets our history, historical documentations, giving life to significant men, women, and even history. Viewers who felt no initial interest might be tempted to take a closer look if they knew the unusual circumstances that led the painter or the artist to paint the works. A closer look might even change their perspective or opinions about the artwork or the painting. But of course, not every painting or artwork has a story behind it. Viewers who do not search for stories, however, risk missing out on important and often fascinating information about the art and the artist.
One of the artworks here of Emmanuel Pañares is the Queen Juan portrait. Manuel Pañares was born on December 9, 1946 and started painting at 3 years old. At 65, he has accumulated a volume of work depicting the nuances of colors, drafts, and styles in his figurative paintings. He projects character, charisma, and soul with the context of his history and culture. To further more about his artworks, one of these examples here is the Reina Juan portrait. So, as you can see here in this painting, this is Reina Juana. There are few references of Hara Humamay, though some says her name was Amihan, who is also known by her Christian name Juana, and this is primary wife of Raha Humabon, the ruler of the Cebu at that time. She is talked about in Antonio Pigafetta's writings during the voyages of Ferdinand Magellan when he is arrived in Cebu in April 1521. There is described that Hara Humamay wore a large hat of palm leaves in the manner of a parasol with a crown about it of the same leaves. When Ferdinand Magellan landed in Cebu, the Queen embraced Christianity. Humamay was the first Filipina Cebuana at the time who became the Christian of the entire Philippine archipelago and the most probably the first native woman for the Far East who became a Catholic. For her baptism, when Queen Juana was presented with a small sculpture representation of the child Jesus, the image of the Santo Niño, the Queen asked for the child Jesus to replace her idols. Magellan's chronicler, Pigafetta, wrote the Queen of providentially recognized the presence of the true God in the icon. The image of the Santo Niño, which was enshrined in a simbahan and venerated using Cebuanon rituals. Cebu became a fertile ground of the seeds of Christianity through the devotion of Don Juana as the first caretaker of the icon, the Holy Child. One painter, Emmanuel Pañares, whose beginnings in the arts during the late 60s started with several exhibitions in Manila and Cebu. He later moved in Mindanao to delve into the study of the tribal Filipinos. In the 70s and the late 80s, his paintings were exhibited in Davao, Manila, and Baguio. His return to the Cebu art scene started in 1980 with a consecutive man shows up in the 1991 Sinulog session.
In analyzing a piece of art, start with aesthetics or art criticism operations. Focus on finding internal clues or aesthetic elements in the piece. Then, while making a subjective or unsure judgment on its success, utilize these as your criteria. Once you have finished, you are prepared to go on to the objective art history operations. These will assist you in identifying exterior cues and information about the artwork and the artist. You can check, adjust, and change the choices you made during art criticism operations using the data you obtain during the art history operations. You will be able to make a final judgment if you combine what you learn from aesthetics and art criticism from what you learn from art history operations. This decision weighs information both subjective and objective. Keep in mind, however, that no artistic judgment can be considered absolutely final. As you continue to learn from and about works of art, your judgments will change. You will come across many works of art that you will want to examine closely while reading about art or visiting art museums. The most important part here is following the operations of art criticism and art history. A sequence of art criticism and art history operations. First thing to do is art criticism. Under description operation, subject matter and or elements of art noted in the work. It is also called as the artwork's guide. Next is analysis, the organization, how principles of art have been used to arrange the elements of art. Then, interpretation, the moods, feelings, and ideas communicated by the work. And judgment, personal decision about the degree of artistic merit. Then, another one to consider is the art history. Under description operation, determine when, where, and by whom the work was done. In analysis, identify unique features to determine artistic style. In interpretation, learn how time and place influenced the artist. And lastly, judgment. Make decision about work's importance in the history of art. Overall, art history is studying various pieces of art and their creators. The four procedures make up search suggestion are description, analysis, interpretation, and judgment. This will allow us to understand the inspiration behind the pieces of art as well as how people or how viewers react to it in initial display and over time. And if we act as art historians, it is better to view artworks as visual documents that considering ideas, values, fears, superstitions, beliefs, and desires that have characterized every place and every era from prehistoric times to the contemporary. Thank you.